Hey, it's the Empire, Geoboxing Empire, Backshot Boxing. Now, man, Billy Joe Saunders, man, he wakes up after the nap from which Canelo slept him in. Man, Billy Joe Saunders was stopped in a recent fight with my boy Canelo Alvarez, man, in the eighth round. He retired in his corner because he had his eye socket broken. Now, man, that being said, man, Billy Joe Saunders reflects on what happened to him, and he, is looking at the world, and he's looking at the animals, looking at the birds, and he sees this rat in a jar. I know. He sees a rat in a jar, and he sees himself in the rat. He's like, man, me and that rat, we got a lot in common. We have a lot in common. So Billy Joe Saunders posted a post on Instagram showing a rat in a jar eating his way into a jar, basically trapping himself in the jar. I know, wild stuff, but he gets really philosophical. My boy Billy, really intellectual. Now this is what go from Billy. A mouse was placed at the top of a jar filled with grains. It was so happy to find so much food around him that no longer he felt the need to run around searching for food. Now he could happily live his life. After a few days of enjoying the grains, he reached the bottom of the jar. Suddenly, he realized he was trapped and he couldn't get out. He has to fully depend on someone to put grains in a jar for him to survive. He now has no choice but to eat what he is given, a slave to a situation. And then my boy Billy Joe starts breaking the situations down, man. He starts talking about how, these short-term games can really destroy your career. I think he's talking about boxing, how that Canelo fight, it was a big gain, millions of dollars, but now he has his eye socket broken. Now his career is in jeopardy. My boy Billy Joe Saunders, he had a good fight in these bums, getting those checks, no injuries, right? But he got that big check from Canelo, and it cost him his career. Very few people come back from a broken eye socket. I can't name anyone who came back from a broken eye socket. Not someone who came back at a high level, at the highest level, and won a big fight. Only person I can think of was Kell Brook, and he got his eye socket broken for Triple G, and then he, was never the same ever since, right? Now, it's funny that Billy Joe Saunders look at the rat and he sees himself in the rat. Funny stuff, man. I mean, I wonder what was going through his mind and how he even stumbled upon this photo to begin with. But yeah, man, that's my take from it. I mean, he goes into it. You guys can look at Billy Joe Saunders' Instagram himself. He goes on Instagram and he starts making these, these philosophical things. Apparently, he has 4 lessons to learn in this whole thing. I guess I can read it for you guys. He says, lesson 1: short-term pleasures can lead to long-term traps. Lesson 2: if things come easy and you get comfortable, you are getting trapped into dependency. 3: when you are not using your skills, you will lose more than your skills. You will lose your choices and freedom. 4: freedom does not come easy, but it can be lost quickly. Nothing comes easily in life. If it comes easily, maybe it's not worth it. Don't curse your struggles, embrace them. They are your blessings in disguise. So there's my boy Billy Joe Saunders, man, with the philosophy, man. This guy all of a sudden is throwing Chinese philosophy everywhere ever since the L. It made him, think back on life. Guy, he's obviously, going through something right now. That loss, he didn't take it too well. This is not the kind of thing you see after a dub, right? If he got a W and he won the fight, he'd be talking about how he's on top of the world and how he's the greatest. But now that he took that L, well, life's different now. He sees life from a different perspective, a rat's perspective. Crazy stuff, man. My boy Billy. I'm big on Chris Eubank Jr., so I'll be honest, I'm extremely biased. And my boy Chris Eubank Jr., he was so happy when Billy took that loss, because he talked so much trash about everyone else quitting, like Daniel Dubois against Joe Joyce. He said he would never do it, but he did. And now that he did, he's talking different now. He's talking about dependency and not being greedy and things like that. We don't know what kind of Billy Joe Saunders is going to show up next, man. Is this going to be a repeat of Kell Brook? I'm thinking so, man. If he fights any big names and build big names at 168, it's a short list because a lot of those fighters right now are veterans. If you think of like the James DeGales, I can name a lot of the older fighters who used to be big dogs at the division. Those are older fighters now; they're aging fighters. So there's very few big dogs that are still considered quote unquote big fights. One of them, in my opinion, is Dave Benavidez, obviously Canelo Alvarez, and I still think Caleb Plant is still a big dog. Even though Jose Uzcategui is still a big dog at 168, even though he's not champion. So will Billy Joe Saunders ever step in the ring with a big name again? He's probably gonna get some soft touches, man. We're gonna see how he does. But sad to see it, man. You hate to see it. Billy Joe Saunders relating to rats. Let me know your thoughts about it, though. Like, comment, subscribe. This is the Empire. Geobox Empire. Peace.